Well, hello, friends. I want to present to you a overview of various religious and philosophical perspectives on the nature of humanity, spirit, and the concept of the soul. In other words, I'm been teaching about the spirit at conception for some time now, and some people have gotten the traction of what that means, and others, well, it's just gone over their head. But maybe this will give you some idea because I want to talk about different religions who have this perspective. For instance, the Judaism, the Jewish perspective, often views the soul, neshama, as a divine spark from God. I've been talking about that for months now. The divine spark from God at birth. In fact, it's actually documented scientifically. If you want to look it up, there's a spark of light at conception that can be seen. And that's just a fact of life. But some people just overlook that. For we become a light being. Now, what's light? Spirit. It's vibrations. And that's who we are at conception, which is the birth of a spirit being that later is developed into a body in 40 weeks or so in the womb, and that spark of light becomes a spirit being with flesh at that time. But we don't get that from the church, religious or church system as I talk it. That spark of light is at the beginning, at conception, and the body is seen as a vessel for the soul. We're spirit, soul, and body. We talk about that. It's in the scriptures. And Christianity, well, many Christian denominations believe in the concept of the soul being created by God. And that's very common in many different religions at the moment of conception. Now, this perspective underpins beliefs about the sanctity of life and the worth of every individual. We talk about the worth of individuals. Well, I am friends with people in Africa, and they see people as a worth of God because of the spirit that lives within them. They really have a good concept of what that means for my friends in Africa. Islam, well, what about Islam? The belief that God breathed a spirit into the fetus, typically around about 120 days after conception. This spirit grants the individual personhood and moral responsibility. Now, in Eastern philosophies like Hinduism, the concept represents the true self or soul, which is eternal and transcends the physical body. And that's where reincarnation comes in. It emphasizes the continuation of the spirit across a lifetimes. It keeps reappearing, shall I say. Then there's Buddhism. Now, Buddhism is the notion that a permanent soul, Atman, as it's called, emphasizes the concept of consciousness and the importance of spiritual awakening to understand the nature of existence. I believe a lot in this awakening, being awakened to who we are and who we have always been because we're a spirit. As it's been said, slow down to visibility. As I stated, we're spirits with flesh on. And that's who we really are. We're spirits with flesh on. Now, the philosophical perspective is this. For instance, the Plato suggested that soul is immortal and exists before and after the body. Now, that's something that you can look into. That's what Plato is saying. The soul seeks truth and knowledge which are seen as forms that existed independently of the physical world. Well, in a sense, that's true because we are spirits at conception, and that spirit comes from the idea that God set it into place. In fact, there's a scripture in Genesis talking about uh, be fruitful and multiply. Be fruitful and multiply. So, what do you think that means? That means that conception, when the sperm and the egg meet, there's a divine connection of light, and we become a light being. And after about 40 weeks, we come out of the mother's womb and we have flesh on. So that's really the truth of the matter. So the view is diverse: spirit, soul, and body. So we're one. We're one. And so that's what we're really saying here in this message, that we're consistent of a spirit, soul, body, and the implications. So what are the ethical implications? The belief in a spirit or soul at birth influences various ethical discussions, particularly concerning issues like abortion, euthanasia, and the rights of individuals. The idea that each human being has a divine essence often leads to strong advocacy for the sanctity of life. Yes, we believe in the sanctity of life because that's who we are. We've been set apart unto God as His at the conception, when the egg and the sperm meet and brings forth light that can be verified. Do your own research. Don't believe anything I say. Just do your own research. You'll find that that is the truth. So, what's the conclusion to this? What's the conclusion? Well, these diverse views underscore the rich tapestry of beliefs surrounding the nature of humanity and spirit, and the interplay between the body, mind, and soul has profound implications for moral, philosophical, personal identity, and societal values. So, we have value because God has set us as His own, and God has value, and we as spirit beings have value. So I hope this is clarified somewhat. Who's well, some people just don't believe until they believe it by doing their own research. So I challenge you, I admonish you to go do your own research about what I'm talking about, and you'll find out that you're a spirit being with flesh on. Thanks for watching.